Welcome back, Math 7. Today's lesson is continuation of chapter 12, which is statistic chapter, and it's one of my favorite. And if statistics is hard to understand, consider that as working with data. As I mentioned, the first lesson was 12.2, which is mean, value, and calculation of mean, which is prevalently known as average calculation. Today's lesson is chapter 12.1. Although we talk about median and mode as one chapter, I'm going to talk about just median. So think about first half of this chapter will be covered by this video. It should take less time than the mean value calculation. So let's talk about median. First thing first, median. Oops, I just realized it's too low. Maybe this way. My pen will not gonna touch. There you go, that's a little better. Median. What is a median? Median is basically like the word middle or medium. The middle number in a set of data after the data have been arranged in order though. So median represent a This is a definition of median. A middle value in a set of data. However, there's a condition. After the data have been arranged in order. We call it ascending order. And I'm going to talk about that as using a quick example. There are two different types that you will see in the world of median. One of the example, again, feel free to actually experiment what you see using your for example, you can roll a dice, or like last time, I'm gonna use a deck of cards. This time, I'm not gonna go with the red and black color. I'm just gonna go through the number set. What do you know? Joker, that's excluded. Queen, that's head, that's excluded. Okay, 7. J excluded. 2. Gonna use 5 data. 8. What do you know? 7 again. 5. So I'm gonna write down this order. 7, 2, 8, 7, 5. I have these sets of data. Now, like I mentioned in the definition part, we have to arrange it in an ascending order. Ascending order means it's like going down to up. You're starting with the low number and it increases. So starting with the smallest number, in this case 2, so 2 comma followed by 5, 7, 7, 8. And basically the value that's located exactly in the middle area is known as median. So sometimes, as you may see in this situation, you don't need to calculate. And that's when you have odd number of sets, you don't need to calculate. There you go. Now, let's use different set of number. Sometimes you need a calculation. And what will be those situation? Well, let's use deck of cards again. This time I'm gonna take about 8. So 4, 6, 10. Oh, that's like blackjack almost. Good idea to stop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One more number. That's excluded. That's also excluded. Oops. There we go. We have these sets of numbers. And let me just count. 4, 6, 10, 3, 6, 10, 7, 3. Now, let's do our first step, which is arranging as an ascending order. So smallest number, and you may notice Mr. K might have repeating smaller number. 3 and 3, which one should I write first? Doesn't matter, is my answer. It's 3, 3, followed by, and I'm just gonna take it so that I know, 4, 6, 6, 7, then 10, 10. Now that's the set that we have. Now in this situation, finding out middle is tricky because 1, 2, 3, 4, that's first half, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's later half. So basically it's between these two numbers. Of course we have 6 and 6, but let's just say, can I just use my math cheat a little bit? Let's just say one of the 6 was 5, so you have this. Then you need to find out the number between 5 and 6, which is like average value. Pick those two numbers, 5 add with 6, then it's two set of number divided by 2, which is very similar as average calculation. Then 5 plus 6 is 11. 11 divided by 2 is what it is. And if you do, it's 5.5. So in this case, median value requires calculation if the data number are even numbers. So if you have a set of data like 2, 4, 6, something like that, you have to basically create what I like to call it as average calculation of the two central value. So I'm gonna say average calculation of two sets of middle values. That's what is required if you have even number of set. Now here's the thing. Which method is better? Is average value, mean value calculation is better, or median calculation is better? So let's, for example, quickly go through here. If I calculate mean value, then you simply add everything. 2 plus 5 plus 7 plus 7 plus 8 divided by 5 sets. So eventually you're gonna divide it by 5. Okay, you have to have a bracket. And let's punch those numbers in. So that's 2 plus 5 plus 7 plus 7 plus 8 divided by 5 provides you 5.8. In the school system, like in junior high, when people average the test or something like that, generally people use this method. And quite a lot of time average, when people say average, like average height and something like that, we use this. But does that represent the fair central tendency of the data? If you look at this situation where 7, 7, 8, these three values are quite close together. If you think about it, 2 is really a small value that may be too small for considering the average. 5 is debatable. So in that case, maybe 5.8 as an average can be really small compared to the median way of determining the central value of the set of data. It's really debatable situation, and in order to find which value is specific value, you actually need to go to a post-secondary. Unless you're going to Math 30-2 or something like that, where you're going to learn about bell curve. And that is way beyond what we're doing. But long story short, your judgment is required. Which method is best, like average calculation 5.8 or median as 7? Which one is the best? Which one represents the exact middle value that is good for your study? That's what you need to report. So personal judgment is quite necessary. Now, let's do a classroom example before we end the whole thing. I'm going to use textbook example like last time. What is this page? This is page 424. And example number 2. So page 424, example number 2. Let me read the question. The frequency table shows the hourly wages of employees at a recycling depot. And there's a hourly age, 8 hour, 10 hour, 11 hour, 14 hour, and you have number of employee. And basically, we are just gonna do part B. What is the median wage? So here's what you need to do. This one I'm gonna copy the question. Oops, 11, then 14, and I have 3, 2, 3, 2. My table looks ugly, but anyway. So we have 3 employers that work hourly, and 8 hours. 2 workers for 10 hours, 3 workers for 11, 2 workers for 14. So here's what it is. It's already arranged in an ascending order. So that means I can just list these data set on like a number line, if you will. I have 3 employees that do 8 hours, so 8, 8, 8. That part is done. 10-hour worker for 2, 10, 10. $11 for 3, 11, 11, and 11. Then 14 hour for 2, 14, 14. Just like that. We already done the very first step. So we basically have 8, 8, 8, 10, 10, 11, 11, 11, 14, 14. It is good idea to count every number. So we have 3 and 2, that's 5. 3 and 2, that's 5. So 10 sets of data. Number of data set is equal to 10. I'm going to use this little bit of algebra method, but it's not necessary. Now that means, as you may notice, this is even number. That means we need to do calculation because we don't have exact concept of a middle. In fact, the middle is first 5 and next 5. So it is between 10 and 11. So do your calculation. 10 plus 11 divided by 2, because it's 2 sets for those 2. And what you need to do is 21 divided by 2. And if you use a calculator, that's 10.5. So the average is $10.5. That is your median value for this data set. Although the question didn't ask you about mean value, let me just do a little bonus calculation. Mean value. Let's say I add everything. Divided by 10. Let's think about average. So a plus a plus a plus 10. You have 10.5. What do you know? In this situation, both system agrees, went to a reach of an agreement for the central tendency. The central value is $10.5. So whether you choose median or mean, it really doesn't have that much of difference for this sets of data. That is lucky. Now, here's a little advice. And you're gonna do some project in this, or math lab, whatever you want to call, in this chapter. Which method is the best? It really depends in junior high level. For example, if you are president of a country, let's say, and you have, of course, this is a very extreme, 5 citizens, and then you look at their income. One earns about like $15,000 per month. Another earns $30,000. Another earns $1,700. And you know what? Let's just do 3 sets of data because I'm lazy and out of the idea. So here's the thing. Which method is best? Now, if you use an average situation, you do 1,500 plus 30,000 plus 1,700, then you're going to divide it by 3 at the end. Why don't we do that calculation now, actually? Plus 17,000, then divided by 3, you have 11,066. Sorry, the comma belong wrong way. So, if you do average calculation, the average amount that you earn from your country, because, well, with the 3 citizens, but in any case, it turned out to be $11,066.67. But that may not represent the actual middle ground of your country. Like, what's the actual central average value? Because the thing is, the reason you have 11,000 as an income is because of this one citizen, right? 30,000. This guy basically bring the whole average up. So maybe in this case, median is better. Mean may not be a better choice because if I arrange it, 15,000, 17,000, 30,000, maybe that represent better average because 2 citizens versus 1. And you are earning that 1,000, almost close to 2,000 still, but that may represent more people's average. So, long story short, the world of statistics is very, very detailed, and you really need to consider every single data. Is there a certain data that make the average go really up or bring it down a lot? And when you go to economy, social, those kind of studies, you are going to see mathematical application and statistic application of each of those phenomena. And that's what I want to point that out. That is today's lesson. Your homework for today will be very selective. Let's see. On page 426, I want you to do number 8 and 9. Do median only. Same thing for page 427. Number 10, 11. Why not? Same thing. Do median only. do not do something that says mode, even though it's really easy to understand, which you will see in next lesson, but we're going to compare those methods later.